Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about finding your own self-worth and your value in your own personal fitness journey. So let me put on my +5 out of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. And, this is something I don't see people really and truly talking about out there. Because everything is always about these extremes. From one hand, you have this entire body acceptance movement, which I don't agree with. I don't think body acceptance and saying things like health at every size, loving your body even if you know it's unhealthy and you're not really making real efforts to make it healthier. For example, someone who's morbidly obese, they carry large amounts of body fat and they still say, I'm big and beautiful, but they know they're unhealthy. And teaching them to be positive about it isn't the best choice, because if they are happy with it and content with it, they're not going to make lifestyle choices that are going to keep them alive. Obesity is just about the #1 killer in the United States. Actually, heart attacks are massively correlated with obesity. Diabetes, massively correlated with obesity. Cancer, massively correlated with obesity. Meaning people who are carrying way too much body fat are at a much higher risk than other people developing all those things. And those things are massive killers. They're massive killers. I mean, people talk about DWIs and gun violence and everything else in the United States. Those don't even hold a shadow, not even close to what heart attacks do. Okay? You combine drunk driving and guns and all of that together, heart attacks kill like 5 to 10 times as many people every single day. Every day in this country, than those things combined, and people really talk about those. So I'm not talking about body acceptance, all right? I'm talking about people who take the other extreme, unfortunately. This is my real audience, because people who are in the body acceptance movement aren't going to be watching fitness channels. They're happy and content being morbidly obese, or they pretend to be. They're not going to be coming to channels like this. I'm talking about people who are fitness-oriented, okay, fitness-oriented. People who have fitness goals, they are training, they are exercising, they are trying to watch in some way what they eat. The problem we run into is that we have the other extreme. And as this online community perpetuates that, and even some of the other YouTubers out there who I like perpetuate that, this idea of never being content, or of always comparing yourself to others, that if you don't look as good as these other people, or you don't perform as well as these other people, you're not as strong as them, you're not as ripped as them, you don't have the same size biceps as them, or you don't have the bicep shape that this guy has, or you can't deadlift as much as he is, then your efforts are complete wasted and you're garbage. And you see people who say that about themselves, and you see people who say that about other people, like they literally compare everyone else's fitness journey to some set of icons that they hold valuable. And the thing is, people oftentimes really judge themselves based on that. They compare themselves to all of these other people. Okay, and that's a problem, because what that ends up doing is creating a lot of lack of fulfillment, and it removes oftentimes the ability of people to enjoy their own progress. I mean, there are people out there who have made amazing leaps and strides. There are people out there who've lost 50 pounds of body fat and are still working out and dieting. Well, there are people out there who are noobs. They put on their first 15 pounds of muscle mass. All right, their first 15 pounds of solid muscle. They're walking around with more muscle mass than the average guy out there is ever going to have if they put on 15 pounds already in the gym. Or people like, again, who've lost 50 pounds of fat, and they're sitting around going, yeah, but I'm not as jacked as this guy over here. I'm not as good as this guy or that guy, and therefore I'm complete shit. I'm garbage. And you see people who have that mentality, and they judge other people by that mentality too. So if people are running around judging each other by that, how do you think they feel about their own progress? I mean, if they're saying other people are garbage or trash because they haven't achieved whatever pinnacle, how do you think they feel about themselves? And here's the problem with that. We've gone the other extreme from the insanity of the body acceptance thing. I mean, the body acceptance is insane, not because there's anything wrong with feeling good about yourself. We should all feel good about ourselves. You know what? Every human being out there probably has some value. We all have something that we can feel good about. There's nothing wrong with feeling good about yourself, but when you know that something you're doing is harmful to yourself, that's harmful to others, that's not something you should really feel good about. Self-harm isn't something we should feel good about. Okay, self-harm is something we should be going, I don't know, this is a problem. Maybe Maybe I need to do something about this. So that's why the body acceptance is a problem. It promotes people feeling good and then if they feel good about it, they're not going to bother to change things that are extremely self-destructive. If you're walking around with 50 or 60 extra pounds of body fat, that is self-destructive. That is going to kill you. That is essentially slow suicide. Okay? That's self-destructive behavior. It's harmful. People shouldn't be accepting that, but by that same token, you have people out there who've made strides to improve themselves. They've improved themselves. They've been working out, they've been eating good, they've either lost fat or gained muscle or both or gained strength, and they're making progress, but they get caught up in this other idea that it's never good enough. And you know what? That's not a much healthier thing than the body acceptance. Body acceptance is very unhealthy, but this is also unhealthy because it's emotionally unhealthy. And I can understand if you're a competitor, guys. I don't want people to confuse this with people who are competing and really and truly trying to be the best in a competitive endeavor. That's a different mindset. I get that. I'm talking about people who don't even compete. People who don't compete in anything. And remember, competition isn't always healthy either. Competition can be very physically unhealthy. In some cases, psychologically unhealthy. I've done my share of competition and I understand the competitive mindset and can appreciate it, but it's not always healthy. And when you start applying that mindset to normal people who aren't competing in anything, it's very unhealthy. You know why? It's going to lead you to lack of fulfillment. You're not going to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Okay, you're not going to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And that's what people need to learn to do in this community better, is being able to step back. And you don't see enough of this, of people saying, you know what? I've come a long way. I've come a long way since I started. I'm proud of that. And everyone needs to be able to step back and say that. And even if you're not where you want to be, you need to understand it's about the journey, not the destination. Because you know what? Even if you reach that elusive goal, you may or may not, once you get there, you might decide your priorities change. Or you might realize, oh, that goal's okay, but it's not all that great. Because the people who were goal-driven, of specific goal-driven in their fitness, are never going to be satisfied, because when they reach that goal, it may not be as good as they expected. So then they got to have another goal to reach for, and another and another. And like I said, it's okay if those goals drive you towards just being better, but people need to learn to step back and appreciate how far they have come. I'll give you guys a perfect example. You know what? I'm down 18 pounds right now. I just got done doing an hour of cardio. And you know, I'm stepping back going, man, that's pretty good. I'm down 18 pounds. I've cut 18 pounds. I'm happy about that. That's 18 pounds of fluff gone on the scale. Pretty much maintained my strength, so it's not muscle loss. That's fat loss. And you know what? I just did a bunch of cardio. I just ate a really low-fat, high-fiber, high-protein breakfast right after. I'm making progress. I'm moving forward. You got to learn to step back and enjoy those things. All those little steps along the way, people need to learn back and say, hey, I've done good. But the problem is, even when you try to do that, we've got people in this community who will always be standing there saying, so what, that's not good enough. Someone else lost 20 pounds in that same amount of time you lost 18. That means your 18 isn't good enough. And people listen to the naysayers. When they're out there actively making progress and improving themselves, they listen to those naysayers. Or they let their own mind do it. They look at someone else and say, yeah, but they achieved more. Man, I don't feel so good about what I've done now. And you can't have that mentality. Yeah, if you're competing for a medal, okay. But if you're not, and you're just working on your personal fitness, you've got to learn to accept the fact that, hey, I just achieved something. I made progress. You know what? I'm also still training. I'm still doing cardio. I'm still eating whatever diet. I'm eating good. I'm going to make more progress next month. I'm going to be better than I was today. I'm actively working on improving my fitness. And that's the mindset that people need to be healthy with all this, to have a really healthy approach to this and to get the most out of it. Because guys, fitness, yeah, the physical aspects are amazing. They're fantastic. We should all strive for that. But you know what? The mental aspects of your health matter too. Your sense of self-worth matters. Your self-esteem matters. And if you can't enjoy the various steps you've made in your progress, you're missing out. You are not living life to its fullest when you're making progress and you're not able to enjoy the little steps along the way, the stepping stones and the milestones that you reach. You got to learn to enjoy those. You know what? It will enrich your fitness journey. It will enrich you as a person, and it will give you a happier life when every time you reach a new goal, you step back and say, I'm proud of myself. You know what? And even when you guys post it on social media, there's always some cocksucker out there who's going to go, yeah, but someone else did better. And it's not even them most of the time. It's someone else did better. They take their own internal problems and then they'll try to bring you down with their lack of self-esteem. So they'll not even compare you to themselves. They'll compare you to someone else who's done better than they do also. But that person did better. And they'll try to take that victory away from you. And you can't let people do that. You can't let people sabotage your joy. Because you know what? Fitness isn't a competition, all right? Powerlifting meet, that's competition. An Olympic lifting meet is competition. Men's physique contest is a competition. Your personal fitness, the only person you're competing with is yourself. And you know what? If you learn to step back and enjoy your progress along the way and be proud of yourself and happy that you achieved something no matter how small it is, you're going to be happier for it. You're going to be better for it. And you're more likely to stick it out and maintain a healthier mindset towards your fitness so that you don't do stupid and drastic stuff. So that you step back and you say, okay, I've got this next goal I'm going to reach, but I'm not going to do anything crazy to do it. It might take me 6 months to reach this next goal. But, I'm not going to do anything drastic like some crazy crash dive. I'm not going to use a bunch of drugs to reach it. I'm going to coast and I'm going to get there. And enjoy the fact that you reached the step before it too, and be proud of yourself each time. It's that sense of fulfillment that you get each time you achieve that little bitty level up that makes the journey itself worthwhile. And that's what's going to keep you consistent and give you that healthy mindset towards your fitness that lets you to continue to improve over the years without destroying yourself, without injuring yourself, without harming yourself, without doing anything too drastic or dramatic. You got to learn to enjoy the journey, because you know what? All those destinations are temporary anyways. They're fleeting. Everything in your body detrains and breaks down and readapts over time. So at a certain point, you're going to get old enough that just maintaining what you have reached already is going to be a lot of work. And if you can't learn to enjoy where you are right now, each time you make progress, how are you going to be able to enjoy it when you start regressing 20 years from now? Because that's what this is about. This is about lifetime. All right, fitness is a lifelong journey. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of life. And you got to learn to enjoy it for what it's worth. And don't let other people take that away from you. And don't let your own mind and your own mentality take that away from you. All right? Be proud of what you accomplish, because that's yours. That's yours, and no one else can take that away from you. All right? And don't let anybody take it away from you. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.